What's up, EJK here, and I'm bringing you guys today a video from IEM Taipei Asia Final Qualifier between Maru and Life. This is the game 1 in the best of 3. We're only going to be doing this game because it's a good macro game. The second game, Life kind of flopped and he didn't do too well against Maru's pressure. Oh my gosh, I forgot to switch it. Alright, so the game is already a little bit underway. Oh my god. Maru went for a 14 command center opening. He did not scout with his SCV. I do not recommend that. I always recommend scouting with your SCV so that you can at least see the gas. You can see a hatch before pool or pool before hatch. And then you know if you need to wall off or not. On Foxtrot Labs in these positions, you only need a bunker and 3 depots to wall off. On the other positions, it's pretty much impossible to wall off very early on. So command center first isn't a very viable build order opening on the other positions, but it's fine on these. Maru's going to be, his build order is going to consist of going for a command center first, into Hellion Banshee, into a very strong mid-game, just a standard parade push with Widow Mines and bio units. It's cool him making his second gas at the natural to deny scouting information. Typically a Zerg player wants to have overlords at the main base and at the natural base to scout the gas timings and keep an eye on how many gases you're taking as a Terran player, because that can hint at what you're going to be doing, like how you're opening up based on how many gases you take. So Maru taking that gas there kind of hides the build that he's doing. Unfortunately, these speedlings just kind of run in because he did not scout his opponent, so he did not fully wall off. And they're going to see that a second gas has been taken. They're going to go up to the ramp momentarily, and they're also going to see that there is a starport. So Life has essentially gotten a full scout off on Maru. And some collateral damage as well. One of the things to note here is that Maru is only going to be going up to 4 Hellions. And the reason behind that is because he wants to establish map control. The Banshee, Hellion Banshee, or the Cloak Banshees kind of do that, but he really wants to be aggressive as fast as possible. So not only is he going to stop at 4 Hellions, he's also going to skip the Viking as well. The goal here is to get 2 Medivacs out and on the map around the 10-minute 30 mark. Pretty fast for a third command center opening, especially when you open up Hellion Banshee as well. You don't expect 2 Medivacs full of stimmed Marines to be out that fast on the map. But the way that this build works and what you cut, it is very possible, very doable. Life's sending that Overlord in to scout. I'm not sure if it was to see our Hellbats or if it was just to see if there was Raxes or not. Either one could work. In either way, Life sees exactly what is going on here. So there's no surprise from either player. Maru, seeing the lack of drones at the third base and that amount of queens, first of all, seeing those 3 queens over there and a Spore Crawler means that your opponent is not going for an all-in. Otherwise, he wouldn't have that many queens over there. Secondly, seeing no drones at the third base typically means that your opponent went for a very fast lair, like we saw Life do. His lair is already done and it's almost the 9-minute mark. He isn't starting his Spire immediately. Instead, he's choosing to drone up. I believe he got that lair very fast to get an Overseer out. Because Banshees can be very annoying. If you don't have that mobile detection, they can pick off drones that are transferring between mineral lines. They can snipe Creep Tumors, snipe at Queens. But Maru isn't able to do any of that because of how Life is opening. What Maru is able to do, though, is he's able to deny Life's 4th base with these 2 Banshees while he's waiting for these 2 Medivacs to start getting made. Normally, as a macro Zerg player, you want to take your 4th base a little before the 10-minute mark, and these Banshees over here are able to, right over there, deny that 4th base by about 30 to 45 seconds, depending on how fast Life is able to send another drone over there. It kind of equalizes the fact that Maru's 3rd base is getting denied as well. But we see on the production tab already, these 2 Medivacs are already out, and it's 10-minute 30 mark. So these Medivacs are very, very fast. In fact, Life's Baneling Nest isn't even complete because he doesn't expect Maru's first 2 medevacs to be out on the map this fast. And that's one of the big reasons why Maru's 2 medevacs are going to be able to do a lot of damage early on because they went relatively unnoticed. Or Life didn't recognize how fast these medevacs are. There's not really any way to do it. Maybe not seeing the Viking is one way. He kills off an Overlord right there on the as we see on the minimap. Life's Baneling Nest still isn't done yet. If he had a couple Banelings, he'd be able to morph them. They'd already be morphed. He'd be able to take care of this a lot easier. But for now, Maru's trading very well. He's okay with losing some of his Marines because he is trading for a good amount of Zerglings. We see that reflected in the supply. He's taking a slight supply advantage. And there's this very abusable cliff right here in which Maru is able to snipe off a couple more Lings for free. He's able to get these 2 Overlords, and he's just able to get out of there with minimal losses. He lost 8 Marines. He's going to try to do a little bit more damage, but the main reason why he wants to keep these medevacs here is because the second wave. Now, here's a time frame for how aggressive Maru is. At the 10-minute 30 mark, his first 2 medevacs are out. Around the 11-minute mark, he's over here doing harassment. And it's the 12-minute 15-second mark, and his army is already on Life's side of the map, ready to deny creep. So that's 2 attacks in about a 2-minute period, and Maru's just keeping the aggression up. Now, a 2-pronged attack Life has to deal with at this early stage in the game. It's very, very difficult. And 2 Widow Mines are out. Life's Baneling speed is not even started yet. He had that late Baneling Nest. Life is able to get some decent connections here. Maru isn't able to lift off as fast as he'd like. He loses all of those units because he was too busy multitasking. I believe he sent the drop to the 3rd base, and he was busy with his own drop. And so, unfortunately, his wave gets cleaned up when it really shouldn't have. It was a small blunder by Maru's part. We see this parade push going strong, though. That drop is just so annoying. He just wants Life. He knows that the drop isn't going to do a lot of damage. The goal, though, is to just keep some of Life's army preoccupied so that Maru can push over here at a safe pace. Because if Life has 100% of his army over here, where Maru's bio is, he's just going to be able to chase Maru back all the way to his 3rd base. But since he was spread out because of that drop, for a little bit, Maru's able to get a couple active creep tumors and deny Life's map vision and map control for a little bit longer. We see now that 6th, 7th, and 8th barracks coming down. Very important for a biomine build, and very important for parade pushes as well, because it gives you that extra amount of supply each production round so that you can reinforce and so that you don't get completely beaten back when you're relying on your reinforcements to help to get into the fray of the battle immediately. Good Baneling connections by Life, but Maru's able to, right now it all comes down to control and how good you are at controlling against Ling Bane armies. Maru does a decent job. He ends up getting pushed back, though, because he just doesn't have that critical mass of Marines to deal with both the Zerglings and the Mutalisks on the... not on the bottom of the map. Mutalisks fly. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. But this parade push, we see on the production tab, we see 11 Marines, 1 Marauder, 2 medevacs, 2 Widow Mines. That's about 20 supply every production round that he's making. So he's making about this many units minus 4 medevacs every single round. So although he can't push on creep anymore, and although it is neutralized right now, he's still able to apply pressure, keep Life on his side of the map. It prevents the Mutalisks from being aggressive. It also prevents counterattacks from occurring as well, when Life requires 100% of his army to defend. Not the cleanest splits by Maru that we're accustomed to seeing, but the saving grace is that the 3-3 is on the way, and Maru has been trading, I wouldn't say very cost effectively. I would say he's been trading at an even rate, which for him is okay, because as long as he's constantly trading units and constantly forcing Life to make Banelings and spend gas, he's able to prevent Life from teching to that important hive to get that 3-3 upgrade. So Maru's 3-3 is starting. He's not a good engagement, but his 3-3 is almost halfway done. So his next couple pushes are still gonna have the potential to be very strong up until after the 3-3 starts for life. Then he gets diminishing returns, but there will be a point where he will be 2 upgrades ahead of his opponent. Life now starting that infestation pit. He knows that he was able to push back Maru's parade push. He doesn't have anything to worry about. He has enough units on the ground so that he can safely tech up to hive. Maru took his 4th base relatively fast. I believe it started a little bit before 3-3. He cannot lose it, however. Very important that that doesn't happen. But it was also part of Maru's goal to take a very fast 4th base. You generally cannot break a Zerg's 4th base anymore. You have to kind of deny his 5th base while having 4 bases of your own. So like 4 base Zerg does not beat a 4 base Terran, economically speaking. So many Mutalisks. Where is the Thor? Is what I want to know. Because these Mutalisks are not going to die unless there's a Thor out, or unless life just AFKs with his Mutalisks. However, Maru has bought enough time so that the 3-3 has finished. He is now able to, if he can take a good engagement against life right now, he's gonna win no matter what, especially if it's off creep, and life does not have any creep right now. That's why life is gearing up for a counterattack. He wants to try to stay aggressive. He doesn't necessarily want to trade with Maru. He just wants to keep Maru on his side of the map so that he can buy time to get more units out and that he can hopefully start 3-3 in a little bit. This attack here by life, very scary. However, it is off creep, and Maru has a very good spread, and he does have the 3-3 upgrades, and that makes Mutalisks not nearly as effective. Maru also was able to sneak out that drop. While life was over here morphing the banelings, Maru quickly sent a drop off to the 5th base to attack, or to not really attack, to just deny it. And if there was no 5th base there by life, he would have simply dropped his units there, saw no 5th base, and then picked up and then harassed the 4th base. But killing that 5th base was very important because now both players are again on 4 bases. Life's hive is just starting now. And it's the 20-minute mark, which is another important factor in this game, because this is about the time when your main base and your natural base start to mine out. It seems like it's a very quick time. I wish they weren't going to change the mineral yields to make their bases mine out even faster. It's really going to suck, I think, in Legacy of the Void. But basically, life is going to be on about 2 mining bases with a little bit of extra gas income for a couple extra minutes. Gas does not mine out nearly as fast as minerals do. So, although life is going to have an okay economy to keep replenishing his Ling Baneling army, he's not going to have enough of an economic advantage to safely switch into the Infestor Ultra Baneling composition that can crush these bio compositions. Now, life is going for the counterattack. He's trading one of his bases for one of Maru's bases. Maru, though, he does a good job at splitting here, so he's keeping enough of his units alive and trading enough of Life's army away so that as long as he still has an army on his side of the map, he's going to eventually clean up these Mutalisks, simply because he has a lot of production. And the Mutalisks, as long as they're fighting, they're not going to regen very quickly. They're picking off a ridiculous amount of units. This is a very tense situation right now. Life is up in a lot of supply. And the reason why Maru ends up winning this is because he goes back to the, or he's somehow able to clean up the Mutalisk flock. Those 3-3 upgrades playing a very important role against I believe the Mutalisks are only 2 zeros we saw there. It was very briefly clicked. So these Mutalisks are getting worn down. There were about 20 of them. There's now 16. Maru's main army is now back. So after trading one base for another, his main army returns. And at this point, Life's Mutalisks are getting weak. They're not dying off, but they are weak. And when they are weak, they can no longer harass, and they have to retreat back and heal up. So that's why the Mutalisks are able to get pushed back right now. Life knows that he's going to have to win by counterattacks because Maru's still he doesn't have 4 bases. He has his 4th base down. There's a big difference in what that means, because if you have a 4th base down, you have a fresh set of mineral patches. So even though he lost the orbital in his main base, he still has a fresh set of mineral patches to work with. Life does as well, but even bases favors Terran player because of the power of mules. And Maru going for denial on the 4th base again, but he sees the 5th base is up, and he's able to deny that as well. And what we just saw here that the observer clearly missed was, and we see that reflected in the supply, but what just happened was Life ended up having a bunch of units over here, almost his entire army in fact, and he suicided it onto Maru's planetary fortress, and it did not kill it. It was in the red health. Planetary fortress lived though, and so Life traded a bunch of units for essentially nothing. So he no longer has any units to clean up this force by Maru. His mutalisks are trying to counterattack as much as possible, but the numbers have dwindled, and against 3/3 bio, that is a lot of mutalisks. He has a lot of mutalisks at home. I believe there's only like 16 over there, and then he has another like... He has a lot at home. They're split up into 2 groups about 50% apart. But Maru is just... He's going to bring the sledgehammer home because it really all came down to Life trading a bunch of his army from Maru's 4th base and not getting it. That's the difference between Maru having this much economy here, like that much mineral income, and having like half that. So Marines make the biggest difference in the world right now. Like having 5 extra Marines at your main or on your side of the map to defend against this counterattack and being able and ending up dying versus just not having as many Marines. Like every Marine counts against this freaking Mutalisk flock because they are 3/3. They can contest the will of the Mutalisk. And now the base trade favors Maru a lot because Life simply doesn't have enough of an army to clean up the bioforce that Maru has. And really, it all comes down to, like, the bottom line for Maru winning this game is his 3/3 upgrades complete. He takes a 4th base, and he constantly denies life spaces. He denied the 5th base, then he traded a 4th base for an orbital. That base was already mined out in the main. And then he trades again and again, and as long as Life doesn't have an economy, he can't replenish his units, and he can't actually kill Maru's army because Maru has that double upgrade advantage, and Life was never able to secure the economy that he needed to tech to Hive and get that 3/3 started. So very close game. Maru definitely on the back pedal towards the end, but making a good comeback. Just, yeah, and that planetary fortress attack, even if it didn't happen, the game would have been a lot closer. It would have gone on, but I still think Maru would have had a good enough advantage to successfully base trade against Life because Life was on his last legs as well. That counterattack was very desperate. As a Zerg player, if you are behind and you still have an army, your best option is to counterattack. It's very, very annoying. And it does win games too. I've been on the losing end of that multiple times. So that pretty much brings an end to this video. I will be streaming Monday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the plan. If you guys have any comments or questions, post them, obviously, and I will get to them ASAP. And if you have any games from like Pro League or GSL or the SSL that you want me to go over and break down, I'd be happy to do it. Just leave a comment of the game, preferably a link to, so I know that we're talking about the same game, and I will get to it right away. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all on next one, I guess. Peace out.